Okay, so I've got a friend of mine who's coaching some young girls and they're trying to learn how to skate. And they're going through the first steps. Like in our videos, you can check out the Learn to Skate series, videos 1 through 6, that really are targeted at people taking their first steps on a skateboard. But in this case, in the lesson, very first lesson, the students all wanted to learn how to Ollie, which is not uncommon because Ollies are probably the coolest thing you can do on a skateboard. So they instantly start playing around with the Ollie in the grass, and something really cool came out of it. And the coach hit me up and asked me, where should I start? What are some good things to do with them that they can feel and connect with the Ollie? And I thought, where do people make the biggest mistake? Well, we all automatically all start trying to jump and just trying to do the Ollie, whatever variation there's lots of videos out there on what to do with your front foot, to roll it and slide it and back foot and all these different things. The reality is, if you don't have the skill to land, and if you're a beginner, if you're new, you don't have a lot of experience rolling around in awkward positions, landing in strange positions, that kind of thing, you really want to start with the landing first. When you're working with kids, it's really important that you focus on teaching things that are playful and seem like a trick, and you can play games with them, that kind of thing. But it's most important that they just get tricked into learning these really important skills. And if you just say to a kid who wants to learn how to do an Ollie, hey, we're going to learn how to land first, not that much fun. But if the landing is a cool trick, like the one I shared with this coach, then you kind of get to kill a couple birds with the same stone. So in this case, um, this student had a really cool realization. Okay, so in this clip, you're going to see that this young student is really focused on learning, and she's thinking about all the right things, and she's trying to figure out how to frame it. But I thought this one little connection that leads to the drill that I'm going to share with you guys that will help anyone learning how to Ollie. It'll help you with your landings. But listen to what she says about what she's feeling and what she's thinking here.
This foot is just a little bit. I'm trying to make my foot kind of like hook on here, but it's not going out right, and I want to try to my best.
So she's talking about making her front foot hook on to the nose, which is exactly what it's got to do. It's so cool that she's already keyed into that. I'm sure her coach is talking to her about rolling and sliding the foot and doing all those normal things, but there's some pretty important pieces of coordination that she's got to learn with her legs to be able to execute an Ollie. And it's pretty confusing if you're trying to learn it, all in one piece and just make a picture happen. But if you break it down and give yourself some drills that enable you to learn each one of these movements independently, then you start to build muscle memory, and you can start to coordinate those things over time. So as I said, we're starting with the landing first. So maybe let's watch a couple of her Ollies and see what she's got going on here. And she does a great job of talking through, and she's thinking about lifting that front knee, and she's trying to move the front foot forward, and she's getting a little ankle roll. I don't know if you saw that last little bit there, this last one. Look at that. So she's got the right idea. She's lifting the front foot, and she's rolled that front foot out, right? So the front knee's up high, the front foot's rolled out. And then she gets her back foot all the way down on the ground. So she got that heavy foot thing where she's literally connecting the back foot, the tail to the ground, and then trying to jump off the back foot, which is something she'll have to develop later. She's going to have to learn how to do a flick, and we don't jump off the back foot off the ground, but we're focused on the landing right now. Let's start there. Let's take a look at this little drill that you can work on. Okay, so right here I've got it teed up, and you're going to see that my front foot is placed directly under the nose of the board. And I've got it all the way up past the front wheels, which is critical because when we catch the nose, as we slide the foot up, we're trying to get the front foot past the front wheels, past the front trucks. And we're trying to roll the foot out so that we are actually bumping the nose of the board with the top of our shoe, the leather, the shoelaces, that part of our shoe, just a little bit. That's where we should come back into contact. And some really important things happen in the motion of the Ollie. So take a look at this drill, and then we're going to walk through what's going on with the front leg, just so we can really key into that front leg. And then you can play around with this trick on your carpet, or if you have, like I'm using a little soft truck setup. Those soft trucks are amazing. Highly recommend soft trucks if you're trying to learn technical board control or any kind of Ollie or flip trick or anything like that. They're amazing. and you get tons of reps with fast response time. You don't get the feel of the wheels moving, so you don't get the freedom of the movement of the wheels, but you do get to practice and simulate the body mechanics really well. Okay, so as I get into this, you're gonna see I start with my foot already rolled forward in that position that we're aiming for, right? And that's really important. And then you're gonna watch as I start to go, watch how my front foot slides back towards my back foot first. So here comes a little slide move. There it is. I'm trying to keep my front foot rolled out the whole time. And notice that it comes back and then my knee lifts up. And take a look really closely at the angle of my lead leg right here, the lower half of my lead leg. This is such a critical thing because this is where I think a lot of people get kind of confused, because we think about just rolling our front foot and sliding it up towards the nose, but that's not exactly what happens. We do roll the front foot, we lift the front knee, but at the same time, we actually move our front foot, we swing it back towards our back leg a little bit. So if you look at the angle of this line right here, remember my front foot started right here, and you can see now it's all the way back here. So in the air, that happens just a little bit. In a good Ollie, you'll see the lower half of the lead leg angled just like it is right here in this picture. This is a really cool thing. What that does is it takes the pressure and the contact away from the front foot and the board, so you're not trying necessarily to drag it and feel it grinding against the grip tape all the way up. You're actually getting clearance and a freedom, so your front foot can race up freely and then bump the nose and catch at the nose, which is where we want that pivot point to happen. So that's what we're going to get into next. So let's get right back into this. Now, here's where I start to, you're going to see my front knee, my lower half of my front leg, and my front foot start to move back forward towards where it started. So now it's up nice and high. And here comes the front foot moving forward right there. There's a little push of the front foot kind of back to where it started. And there's the catch. So we practice sweeping the board back towards our back foot, then lifting the front knee. We get that angle in the lower leg, and there's the contact. Look right there. My shoe, the top of my shoe is flat against the board, which is really close to what we want to feel in a good Ollie. We want to get that connection with a steep angle of the board nice and steep, front foot rolled flat against the top of the foot, rolled flat against the nose. And now we got the pivot point, and the pivot point of this board, if you take a look, is right where my foot is, ahead of the front trucks, right on top of them, just ahead towards the nose, right in that area. The further forward my foot is, the more powerful our tail will whip up to our back foot. So when we watch a great Ollie, we get this action right here where the tail whips up like that, and you can see the tail's a little higher than the nose right there. That's what we're aiming for in a really good Ollie. Now you can practice just that move and just practice flipping it around. You can do it sitting down. You can do it in your garage, wherever, in the grass with your board. And then you take it to the next level, right? You add in a little jump off the back foot, and you learn how to hop onto your board. So you get to practice landing the Ollie just a little bit. So you're getting all that front leg work, and then you're learning how to get that back foot up just high enough to get on the board. Nothing special in the beginning. Later on, you can learn to pull the back knee way up, which you'll need. But here's that same whip, right? And then a little hop off my back foot and stabilize on the board, right? So you practice this a few times, and you're learning something about the landing. It feels like a really cool trick just to start out with, kind of like how people like to stick their toes under the edge of the board and flip the board over and land on it. I think this is a much cooler beginner variation for hopping onto your board and looking cool in front of your friends who are also learning. I don't know if this looks cool to experienced skaters, but it's pretty fun when you're learning how to skate to do little tricks like this. So there's that same scoop and sweep. We get the board pivoting nicely around up there by the front trucks. There's that pivot point. We want that pivot point up here. So we're pivoting around an axis right in here versus an axis point, through this part of the board. That's not where this board is pivoting. This board is pivoting on an axis somewhere up in here. If we get that front foot up high enough, we'll get that tail right here. The tail will then start to whip, from here on up that way. The only way that happens is if we get the front foot high enough on the nose. So in this little drill, you get to practice getting the front foot way up there. You get to practice feeling the whip, and you get to practice, landing on the board. And eventually you can take this, from the grass or the carpet where you're not rolling out onto a paved area. Just pick a paved area that's really smooth and feels comfortable and safe for you to learn on. Okay. One time all the way through in real speed. Here you go. Set it up on your foot, roll the foot out, slide that foot, hop on the board, and just get as many reps as you can this way. This is a fun little game to play, on your own until you feel it. And through that, you're going to learn how to land. There's all kinds of awkward landing positions that you're going to get into with this little drill. You'll land with your toes hanging off the toe side edge, or your heels hanging off the heel side edge, or too far forward or too far back. And you're going to get used to that impact. And you can also learn how to absorb the impact and feel comfortable and confident with that. So for that student in the class, she now has a drill where she gets to really get connected to the sensation of whipping the board around the front foot. Eventually, I'll help share some different ideas for her to learn how to catch with the back foot, get the back foot up nice and high, and timing for getting the snap and all these different things. But every single aspect of the Ollie can be broke down into a bunch of small elements. And it's really important that you take the time to learn each one independently and then learn how to blend them together. Set it up on your front foot, roll your front foot, slide it back and up, jump on the board. That's simple. Play around with this, lock it in. You'll feel better about your landings. You'll start to develop some confidence in landings, which, by the way, if you are confident in your landings, you'll be way more confident in your takeoffs. All right, I hope that helps. And please hit me up in the comments if you want to learn more about any aspect of the Ollie or any other trick that you're working on. I like to tend to focus on beginner skills, largely because I want to see more people become skateboarders. But any skill you guys have, you can throw it at me, and if we'll do our best to create content to support helping you learn whatever it is that you're trying to learn. And feel free to check out our other videos and make sure you're hitting us up with any ideas or fun thoughts you have about what you'd like to see us do. See you again next time.
Our goal is to help you learn how to skateboard and understand more about skateboarding. If this video helped you, be sure to hit us up in the comments below and tell us what you'd like us to focus on for our next video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and then subscribe to our channel and tell your friends all about us. If you'd like to learn more about the United States Skateboard Education Association, please visit www.ussea.us, where you can learn more about how to skate, learn more about helping others learn how to skate, and become a certified skateboard coach.